In the next month, we have 2 big boy pay-per-views and a couple of fight nights in between. The very first pay-per-view to kick off this nice little 4-week event stretch is UFC 307, but we are at altitude, which makes picking fights, betting on fights, and doing lines a little trickier than it would normally be because sometimes fights go longer than they should, or people just gas out and give up far earlier than they normally would. Either way, I think I've got some really good spots here for Underdog Fantasy. If you don't know what Underdog Fantasy is, it's daily fantasy. You come in here, you say higher or lower than any of the numbers you see on the screen, you string a few of them together, and you can make some very real money. They'll even give you free money to play. The only thing you need to do to unlock all sorts of freebies and deposit matches and bonuses is go to wewantpicks.com/underdog, use promo code WWP, and you can start raking in those deposit matches, those bonuses, the free money, and everything else. I'm going to focus on UFC 307, but if you see across the top here, well, you have every sport imaginable. Football is square underway, so you have your NFL lines, your baseball lines. We're going to hit the playoffs there. WNBA, we are in the playoffs, and then obviously NHL and other sports are starting to ramp up. You can mix and match, do whatever you want to do. Just get your free money. WeWantPicks.com/underdog, promo code WWP. Get the free money. Support us, for Christ's sake. I am going to do my best to give you a winning entry, and we're going to keep it nice and simple. Last time, I believe I did 5 or 6. I forget how big of an entry it was last time, but it was big. We're going to keep this one nice and simple, and we're going to rely on the old tried and true. And we're going to start way up at the top here with Raquel Pennington. We got a whole bunch of options. The higher on fight minutes is pretty juiced. So we're just going to do higher on significant strikes because the reality is if this fight goes to a decision, Raquel Pennington will get past this significant strike number. And if you go through her fight history, she has gotten past that strike number almost in every single fight. Last fight, she landed 134 significant strikes. The fight against Ketlen Vieira was only 3 rounds and she basically got to this number. The fight against Aspen Ladd was 3 rounds, got to this number. 107 significant strikes in another 3-round fight against Marion Renault. So a 5-round fight, we just have to get past 86. That should not be a problem for us whatsoever. And I'm going to double that up. We're going to do the exact same thing with Juliana Pena. They are both in this fight together. And while I do think Raquel Pennington is going to win this fight, there'll be some control time and all of that, we're getting a 20-strike discount for the Juliana Pena side. If Juliana Pena does anything, it's come forward and stay busy, win or lose. She should get to this number. I don't have an issue with Juliana Pena here at 66.5 significant strikes. She got past it in the first fight with Amanda Nunes. She's gotten past it in many other fights in the past that weren't even 5 rounds. And what really helps us here is this is 5 rounds, and Raquel Pennington's not very dangerous. So we should get the full 5 rounds out of here. Raquel Pennington is also not going to be grapple heavy. Juliana Pena did not get to this number in her last fight with Amanda Nunes, but Amanda Nunes took her down 6 times. 6 times she took her down, racked up 12 minutes of control time. This fight, there'll be some cage control, but even from there, Juliana can get to this number, so we have her in this lineup. If we look at some of these other lines, I'll tell you why I don't like them. The main event, listen, Alex Pereira, the kiss of death, the touch of death, his fights aren't like first round, 30-second knockouts, which makes the fight minutes of 8 tricky because it could end in the first round. It could end in the second round. Could go longer. I mean, he basically went to a decision with Izzy. He did go to a decision with Jan Blachowicz. The Yuri knockout in the last fight was the second round. So we've got a little... Alex is not a guy that just comes charging forward chaotically. Khalil Rountree, if he charges forward chaotically, then this fight's going to be over on one side or the other pretty quick. But if Khalil also takes his time, this could go a little long, so we'll avoid that on both sides. What we don't have are the unders. We have a lot of higher, a lot of overs on finishes, but not a lot of lowers, which I do like, but those will probably drop later. If we look at Mario Batista, 14.99 fight minutes, that probably hits if you want to add that. It is 0.62%, so it doesn't add a ton of juice, which is why I'm just going to leave it off and stick with my tried and true. My tried and true are lady overs. So let's scroll our way down here to Tecia Pennington, and we're going to slam another lady over here. Tecia Pennington, higher than 52.5 significant strikes. I'm not worried about that at all. That is one of my more confident ones. Actually, just the Penningtons, if you wanted to do a 2-entry power play, don't do the insurance, just 2 entries right off the rip, then both the Penningtons higher on their lines is probably the way to go. If we take a look here, I'm going to pull up her stats on my other screen. If we take a look here at her stats, my stupid camera is following me. The firmware on this camera, if you're watching this, Instalink, your firmware sucks. You just push out an update. I have every single follow me around setting turned off, and yet here we are, just starts following me the hell around for no damn reason. Makes me look like, this is why people think I'm fucking short, because I get it. I look short here. Stupid asshole. Turn off the gestures. Here we go. Boom. Bang. Look at me. 6'3" all over again. Back to this breakdown. We've got Tecia Pennington. She landed 80 significant strikes in her last fight, and she spent half that fight against the cage. 76 in the fight before that. 144 before that. 52 before that. 74 before that. These are all fights that weren't even 5 rounds. This also is not 5 rounds, so I'm just using that for context to say this is well within her wheelhouse. She is getting to this number time and time again. The last fight was a perfect indication. She was held against the cage the majority of that fight, still got to 80. So this is our entry. I'm going to do the flex pay. These are fist fights. They're fist fights. Anything can happen. So if I get all of them correct, I get paid. If I miss one, I'll still get some money. If you do the full power play on all 3 of these, you 4.2x your money. Let's say we remove Juliana Pena. You can 3x your money with just the Pennington parlay, we'll call it. The Pennington parlay, 3 times is your money. That is probably pretty safe right there if you just want to go ahead and do that. I have already placed this, so let's go ahead and take a look at it. And we have the higher on Juliana Pena, the higher on Raquel Pennington, and the higher on Tecia Pennington for all of their significant strike lines. If you like this, great. If you don't, that's fine too. Get the free money. The free money not only supports us, but you get free money. WeWantPicks.com/underdog. That promo code is WWP.